Okay, so how's it going? Going to be our first episode of In the Loop. My name is Kip. I am a person plays
Human.
video games and looking to teach people how to use video games to improve their lives. I have with me
Luke.
Lucas.
Crisis Luke. No, I
Crisis
don't know.
Luke.
If we want it to be. I'm also a human person that enjoys video games and believes in the mission of actively, not passively, but actively transferring your skills from a medium you love, this medium being video games, into your life in whatever way in which it manifests itself, or you choose to have it manifest.
Yeah, awesome. And that's a good word, medium. I haven't
Medium?
I haven't been using the word medium very often, but it's something that I definitely need to start using.
Right.
So, hey, Dr. Knife, thanks for stopping by.
I'm a new face.
Yes.
Hello.
Lucas.
Crisis Luke. I don't know. I'm coining that now. Official.
So, just really quickly here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick talk show. So, what we were doing previously is that we were, I would sit and stream and wait for people to stop by and kind of give the message and talk to them. But instead, we're going to just do a rundown every week, kind of on what's happening and turn a little bit to. Oh, I thought you said. I read that as turn it to the Luke, and I was like, that's good
direction.
Okay, but this is the first time for us to record together. So if you guys have any suggestions on sound or if the video suggestion is also great, so I think we can
slide it.
I don't know if I can make it actually much better. It's not easy.
We'll survive.
Yeah, I think
episode 1.
Episode 001, one of many thousands, or one of thousands. Anyway, I should have titled it 000, but okay. All right, so got a quick little show today. We're just gonna stream for about an hour, and we'll just talk a little bit about what's going on with the content. If you have any friends that you'd like to invite, or anybody that you can get in that will be particularly critical, feel free to let them stop by, because that's always fun to deal with new challenges. So let's get started. This is going to be, we're calling the show In the Loop. Welcome to In the Loop. This is your chance to choose to be more than the sum of your parts and hear more about what's happening in the world of video games and how it relates to your life and your career. And we'll start off just by introducing ourselves, and we'll say hi to Luke here. So, Crisis Luke, tell me a bit about what you're doing in your career and in your life right now, and what your goals are.
Oh geez, the second part is harder. What am I doing in my career right now? So I'm in sales, and there's a story I'll probably share a little bit about that later, as it relates to Crisis Loop. In sales right now, tech sales, and so a lot of what I do is cold calling people for I was gonna say for fun, but I guess it's not technically for fun, but in order to sell them on stuff. And so there's a lot of skills that have been transferable there from that I've learned throughout playing video games in my life, whether it's just learning communication skills, thinking on your feet, and a lot of other ones, perseverance for one, are all things that can be learned, and I have learned through video games. And to be honest, it's been a passive gathering of knowledge, and I think that's one of the things that I was thinking of today that I want to carry forward, is making it more active gathering and transferring of skills.
Awesome. So I'll give a quick shout out here to Alejandra. He's a viewer that stopped by before. He proposed to his girlfriend, and based on the reaction or the number of exclamation marks, I assume that it went very well. So congratulations. Thanks for stopping by again and letting me know. I did ask you to let me know, and I think today was the day, right? The 12th. So
yeah,
great.
I hope that the 45 exclamation points means that it was the answer that you wanted. So congratulations.
I proposed. Actually, it went really
yeah. But I did it.
Yeah.
That's great though.
Okay, and so so I think that a little about I'd like to know, what are you playing right now? What games do you play most regularly?
Hmm.
And what do you like about those games?
Yeah. Geez, that's also a hard question. I've been playing a lot less recently, but I mean, whew, if you want to say, what do I play? Everything. I mean, I've been playing games since before I was a year old, so almost everything under the sun has been played by me in some, in genre-wise, been played by me in some facet. But most recently, WoW Classic, got way too deep into, way too nerdy about, and see you later, Alejandra. Thanks for stopping by. And the other thing that Smash Bros. Constantly. That's a game that you can always just keep going back to and keep trying to get better at, and I think that's the competition is what drives me forward. So yeah, and then in terms of genres I like the most though, RPG for sure. Anything that's in like the fantasy genre, rather than like I'm like a fantasy sci-fi kind of guy, but I'm more on the fantasy side than I am the sci-fi side. So and right now it's been WoW Classic, Teamfight Tactics. I don't know if you've
I've heard of it.
played it. Yeah,
Played. It's a little bit too much luck for.
yeah, it is pretty luck based, and it's just that game, and it has so many bugs. It's like it's like Riot Games is a massive company, but it feels like it was Teamfight Tactics was made by like 20 developers or less, like just wild bugs, but super fun. And a lot of games that have a lot of repetition, a lot of grinding to kind of just like make the hours melt away, but. Yeah, I would say probably the focus I want to have is Smash Bros. Going forward for sure.
Okay, and we have a tournament that we'll be playing.
That's true. I don't know if I can make it, but there is one going on.
Yeah, I actually don't know how many people are going to be there this time. Pretty low showing as well. But so we might just have to eat good food and cook instead. But you can
Still
go
play.
and make your own rustic pizza.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I made a pizza yesterday. It's pretty good.
Made it like the dough and everything, or just
Yeah, my first time making dough and trying out. But yeah, so I think we'll use that to segue into kind of a little bit about myself. So I am a retired engineer. Used to work in the IT space. Spent my life playing video games, and it's something that I really enjoyed, and I love to play games. And one thing that I've heard throughout all of my career and all of my playing and watching was that just playing and was that when you compare it to other mediums, like I'm using that
use
word.
that word. You get it.
But when you compare to other mediums like watching television shows or watching television, going to movies, going out drinking, it's a very interactive and engaging medium, and you, with the right mindset, there's so much you can learn and you gather from your time playing that it kind of goes to waste. Where there's so much you can see and learn, but you just don't you don't really get to it. Yeah.
That's what I gotta do.
Yeah.
I'll slide over here and just talk closer to the mic.
But yeah, and so one of the, and I think that there's a lot of people out there that's like play games who recognize that the entertainment that they're getting when they compare it to just watching sports or again, like watching a movie or watching Netflix. There's all the social interaction, a group of people that we can hang out with and be with and talk to. But we also have that engagement where we're building skills and we're learning at the same time. And yeah, and that's kind of that's what I'm hoping to do, Joe, and with the with just teaching people that how to use video games and games in general as a way to just be better at all the things that they be better at.
And to be good people.
Yeah, and to be good people. We're gonna try and reduce the amount of toxicity in the world by just teaching people how to be people as well.
How to be people.
Yeah, that's it. We'll see. We'll get there. We'll get there
in time.
So that's a little bit about what the show is about, and we'll have some time maybe later on to just see what other people think. If you have any questions or things that you'd like to hear about, maybe we can start with a quick story. Price Luke, tell me a little bit about yourself. How, as far as how have games helped you in your life? Do you have a story, something that you could tell?
I have many stories, but there's one today I kind of want to share it, and I think it was actually talking to my brother. about this, like literally no less than 2 days ago, maybe. Because he's very strict with his children, like many after school activities and got to do your homework, and also like Kumon for doing after school like extra learning. And so I was giving him shit as brothers do, and kind of told him, I was like, just let them play video games, dude. Look how I turned out. I turned out fine. I seemed to. And we were laughing back and forth because he actually he like was the one that showed me a lot of video game stuff when I was very young, and like brought me into the entire world of it. And I remember, I played Diablo when I was like 5 years old, maybe, like the original one, which probably isn't appropriate for a 5-year-old to be playing, but regardless, I did. And so what I had noticed was, and I guess this is where it transitions into the real part of the story, was I was in a spelling bee a little bit later on in my life, in middle school aged, whether it was third, fourth, up to seventh grade, I don't know, but around that time frame. Where I entered into the spelling bee and it was going well, and it was like in the finals of this spelling bee, and the word that I got was catacombs, and I was like, easy.
That's
This
fortuitous.
is easy. Like, I just nailed it, Catacombs, such an easy word. And I remember as soon as they said that word, that what I thought of was when I was playing Diablo. Because one of the levels you go through as you're going down the Tristram Chapel or Cathedral is the catacombs. And even in Diablo 2, I think they have like every Diablo game has some form of catacombs. And so I even knew like the definition, and then I spelled the word, and I don't know if I wound up winning or not, but otherwise it came like semifinal, second place. And my teacher was very surprised. She pulled me over because I like just spelled it without even asking for like definition or the word. I just like, yeah, here you go. She was like, where did you learn that word from? And I was like, playing video games. And like, I always would read as well, at a higher level than my current grade. So if I was in like fourth grade and I took a reading test, we'd always come back like multiple years higher, like 5-6 years higher. And I attributed a lot of that to playing video games, because you can't really play them, especially older ones, without being able to read. They didn't have voice acting, so to understand what the heck you're supposed to do, you had to read to some degree, especially like in games like Final Fantasy, where there's a ton of text so that you understand the story. Even games like Diablo, there's where you're trying to just read an item and figure out what it does. So that really early on in my life, because I was constantly engaging and activating my brain towards a activity that my brain felt that it was positive, right? So instead of just sitting there reading a book and being bored to death like every other kid that you try to force to read, it's like the fact that I was learning it through a medium that I enjoyed, through video games, and needing to actually immediately apply the skill. Oh, this sword gives me strength, which means I do more damage. Now I'm going to go attack something and do more damage, is like an immediate payoff for you being able to learn. It's like, oh, this is what this does, now I can apply it. And so the story, I guess, is about a lot of stuff, but mainly is reading comprehension and like random words that seem like they're above and were supposed to be challenging, that became commonplace because I was influenced in for so long. Was video games were a core part of my life. So that is just one of many ways that I wanted to share today about how playing games profusely was actually beneficial to me. Maybe not even the most beneficial moment, but I think it's a good intro, especially because it was younger in life, to show that it has lasting impact.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that there's two things that I want to come back to, and I'll start with the fast and facetious one. I'd when you had mentioned that your teacher had pulled you aside, and it was like, oh, well, how did you learn how to spell the word catacombs? I kind of wish that you had been able to say, off the cuff, oh, well, Lord Hell taught me.
Yeah, right.
The Lord of Terror taught me the word catacombs.
I had to go kill the Lord of Terror, all right, and go through his skeletal minions. And I was sent on a sacred quest by Deckard Cain of the town of Tristram. And had to go through the catacombs, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lost opportunity there, but next time you're pulled aside, you got that you got that.
Man, I got pulled aside so much as a kid due to video games too, like. Right, yeah. By the way, Imperium, I know you said wow, new person. I didn't say hi earlier, so hello. But doesn't Imperium mean strength, or in Latin, or is it invincibility, something like that? Power, maybe. So that, I used to get pulled aside a lot. Like even when I was like in third grade, I wrote a story that was like 27 pages long. It's supposed to be like a 5-page assignment, and it was like basically this. bastardization of the Castlevania storyline, where it's
Yeah.
like demons and vampires and vampire hunters, and like all the main characters died, and the final main character was like half vampire, but he had to kill himself so that there would never be any more cursed evil in the world. So like the story ends on a positive note through suicide, and that was in 3rd grade. So yeah, it's like that's probably not 3rd grade stuff, like, but yeah, made it much more adult and above the level. And, you know, I think it's due to the influence of video games.
You know, you're a big
Yeah, huge fan. Huge fan.
We'll probably bring it up at some time. Why you're not playing Richter in our tournaments, but anyway.
Because he's bad, dude. He has no recovery. That's the problem.
Man, the day of a Richter using dare on a link arrow.
Oh, jeez. All right, now I gotta do that against you.
Yeah, it made me sad. But anyway, yeah. One thing that you mentioned was Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy in growing up, it was something that when I was young, my uncle purchased it, and I'm not sure what encouraged him to purchase it or why he purchased it, but he did. And so the original Final Fantasy is really not a game for 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, they're just a little too complicated, but yeah, you know, there's got to be something there, something that really, because I ended up playing a lot. I didn't beat anything meaningful. I actually just walked around fighting ogres the whole time.
Yeah.
I got very scared of sharks and stuff, but like eventually we would move out and probably days of leveling. That's what me and my friend would do. Is like we would be sitting there and we would just walk in circles and fight ogres and giants, or you know, whatever. Or we would be in the port of I can't remember the name of the port. But you get their ship and we just go back and forth and fight sharks. But for whole like days at a time, like.
The classic grind.
Yeah, so I mean, if we want to talk about perseverance or maybe fear,
Yeah.
both of those are there. But yeah, you know, and but it's so interesting to look back and to just kind of realize that the time that we spent building those skills and how they kind of worked in our favor in later events in our lives. Really meaningful, and really there's something that we can kind of pull up that time, where instead of just using that time purely as entertainment, we can use it for something that we can do something with, use it as a way to build skills in place. Yeah, so what I wanted to do then is also talk a little bit about the okay, yeah, so probably, yeah, I think mine is a little bit high, so I'll adjust that. Thanks, Imperium. I appreciate that. And also dropping frames occasionally, which is kind of strange. Maybe I have
Only
like some
4 frames though.
No, it's too many frames. Okay, we can't be dropping.
4 frames in a minute doesn't seem terrible to me.
Yeah, not for a talk show. Maybe for a video game. I get irritated. I can't stand watching streams, and then I can't stand watching my own streams and see like a it's just
Gets you real worked up.
Mm-hmm.
I had to deal with them when I was streaming in Hawaii, because internet there is garbage, and so I had to turn my bitrate down to like astronomically low, and then just deal with it. Be like, oh, I'm dropping 10% of my frames and my bitrate is garbage, but there's nothing I can do about it. So learn to deal with it. Eventually I did.
Yeah, well, so thanks again for being here and for telling your story. I mean, it's really awesome. It's really to see and to hear people talk about, you know, how video games have helped them in their lives. And I'm hoping that as we move on and we do, so this is a weekly show, and the goal is to just kind of give a recap of what's happening. But this being an inaugural show, we're just trying to do a little bit of introduction, what we're about. And I know what I'm about, son. What are you about? And just kind of get through that, get the some of the tech aspects as well, making sure that all of our sounds are good. But the community itself is something that's new, and Imperium, you're kind of familiar with it. You've kind of been around, and you've heard me talk about a few things we're doing. essentially the goal for the community, or the goal of the channel, and what I'd like to do is to start to build a community around using video games and just games in general. I love board games as well. Do you play a lot of board games?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple that I return to. One called Dice Throne. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I have not.
I guess
Dice Throne?
yeah, Dice Throne. It's actually really cool. It's like a free for all, or you can do teams up to 4 players. I think maybe you can even do more than 4 players, where basically you choose your class. There's like warrior, I think barbarian, paladin, other stuff like that. And then the dice are customized to where each of the 6 sides of the die is like a different symbol. And you roll the dice and you put the symbols together to make like spells based on your character's board, because you get basically a spell list. And the spells can like heal you, they can give you an extra turn, they can like do things like make it so that next time you're attacked, half the damage you take gets dealt back. So whole thing. So it's like, and then you try to fight the other people and be the last man standing, last team standing. So this one, it's really repeatable. Got a lot of Kickstarter stuff on. There's like season 2 that just came out where they're adding more characters and more abilities and stuff. So I think there's like season 1 and season 2 put together, there's over 12 different like character classes you can play from. And there's like a hunter one where you get like 2 boards, because then your pet has its own board of like spells and stuff to use. And it's like very, very cool. It's way more intense than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
2v2v2, yeah. So you can kind of do whatever you want with it, and it can get wild, and it's super fun.
It's a really fun game. I personally really dislike games that don't have a lot of agency, but a little bit of a probably a more complicated version of Yahtzee, where you have
exactly. That's a good way to put it.
But Yahtzee's a good game as well, where it's Yahtzee's is a game that is interesting. It's based to make, I would call them cards of hand, or cards or hands of cards, kind of like in poker, where you're just trying to get 6 of kind. You just have to collect the dice to get that. But when you abstract it away and you put that behind some sort of theme and some bigger idea, there's a lot there, and your choices feel more meaningful when there's backstory behind. I'm choosing backstab and stealth, right? Like that's
exactly right.
And that's super cool, and I like that. This game is pretty great. It looks really great, actually. I've never played it, but it looks great.
I think it's really good, and I agree though. Especially about the agency part. That's something that I always struggle with. Like, one of the reasons I'm not big into Hearthstone is like that the luck aspect of it. Like, if you just get dealt a bad hand, then you're kind of screwed. I always like to rely on my skill more than I do luck. But yeah, in terms of board games, sometimes I like the luck aspect because I'm not like competitive about them. As well as the fact that this is basically like Yahtzee, because you can, I'm going to choose those 3 dice and then re-roll the other 2, and you have like a couple re-rolls. And some characters get more re-rolls, some characters get less, depending on like their power and their other abilities. So there's also simultaneously there's like a card deck that you draw from, so that you can like power up your dice. So it has more agency than it looks like on surface value, but still it lacks the like freedom to just do whatever you want. Like a lot of other games, like for Smash Bros, there's so much agency. And that's why I love it so much.
Yeah, so there's something to be said about having infinite agency and being able to do anything that you want. Real life being an example of that, where you can go anywhere, you can do anything that you want. But there's having so much freedom can actually be limiting, in the sense that you don't know where to go, what to do. There was this great video by I think he goes by like Rasputin or something like that, where he talks about he did a video about his wife playing video games. So the title of it is something like "What Video Games Are Like for Someone Who Doesn't Play Video Games." And one of the things that comes up is that in the open games, the non-PvP version, she know what to do. Like, all the time, there's no idea of like how to go somewhere to like the glowing arrow, right? We see glowing arrow, we know over it. No idea. There's no tutorial that said go to the glowing arrow, and uh, that sort of freedom of the open world games, where there's just so much more that you can do and so many places that you can be at, that it's hard to just absorb it all and to actually become do the things that you need to do, which is interesting, and all things that we can talk about probably in the future. But
It's a big topic as well. Like that ties into games like Dark Souls really easily because there's not even a glowing arrow. You're just given a world and told to have at it. You know. So.
I think he had her play some Dark Souls.
Oh, okay.
Just he's like, and as a test of my marriage,
Yeah.
we're going to
Yeah, that one.
Dark Souls. First time gamer. Anyway, yeah. So that, big segue there, kind of or not a segue, but a
Edition?
no. It's like diverge.
Digress.
Digression.
Is
That's
that what
quite
it
the
is?
digression.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. So Imperium, hopefully you talked about digressing in English class as well.
Tangent. Yeah, it was a tangent, so we have to digress.
But yeah, so there's, I think what I really wanted to say is that there's just so much that we can talk about as far as their skills that we can learn, things that we can build on from our experiences, and what is it that we're learning when we're playing games like Dead Cells, or when we're playing games like Dark Souls, or when we're playing another game that starts with D.
Dead Space. No.
Nice.
I don't know. Dead Space.
All that came to my mind was Deadly Boss mods from World of Warcraft. It's like
Not quite a game. Dice Throne.
Dice Throne.
It's right there. It's in our face, in front of our face the whole time.
But that's what we'll do, is that we're just going to reach out to all these people that know that if you ask any serious gamer, they know intrinsically that what they're doing is so much better than just watching it. And I mean, just watching TV is probably the one that comes up the most, but
Reading a book.
yeah, even compared to reading a book, books are incredibly engaging, and there's so much that you can be immersed in this this great big world, but you're just watching it, right? You're someone who's you don't get to experience the world and what's happening. You just
make choices.
You don't make choices, right? Unless it's a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Which and again, choose your own adventure is essentially a game, right?
It is.
So and that's what we're doing here with the community, and hopefully for this talk show we'll just be telling you guys a little bit about what we've learned, what we posted, and I'm going to use that as a way to segue into the Steam challenge. Maybe if you give an explanation of what you understand it to be, and then we can I can post the link for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so what I understand, the Steam Challenge is started October 8th, runs to December 8th this year. That'd be 2019. And essentially what it is choose a Steam game in your library that you've genuinely enjoyed and that you've started, but you never finished for one reason or another. The reason you didn't finish doesn't matter. And to be honest, it doesn't even have to be a game that you haven't started, just one that you want to start. And you decide and you make a commitment to yourself to finish it, and through the community of Crisis Loop, through the Discord channel, you hold yourself accountable by having others holding you accountable as well. By when you start the challenge, if you so choose to take it, you post a screenshot that you have started it, the game in which you're playing to start it, so that others can also hold you accountable to the mission of finishing it. And what the end goal there is, and what it wants to teach you, is to finish something that you started. And to boil that down a little bit, what that is discipline. And so, like I was mentioning earlier, rather than passively taking skills and values that you've learned through gaming, now you're going to actively pay attention to it, that I have a goal of what I want to do. I want to learn discipline in my life. And what better way to learn discipline than being disciplined about something that you genuinely enjoy doing? So choose a game that you genuinely enjoy, that you've hopefully started. That would be the goal, that you're going to finish by December 8th. Join the community, talk about it, and the big, I guess, other incentive to start as well is that if you post in it and you finish it, you'll be entered into a raffle to actually win another game that you would like to play as well, that you would enjoy. Did I get everything in there?
Yeah.
Is there anything that I missed?
It's like you knew.
Yeah, it's like I read the link that you posted in there, the Steam challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so I'm kind of updating it a bit as well. So hopefully there'll be a little bit more detail around things. But yeah, that's absolutely it. One of the things that happens to a lot of games, um, we play games as a way to be entertained and as a medium for just having fun and spending our time the way that we want to. But one thing to do is that we can take games that we enjoy, like for instance, um, I'm playing Dead Cells right now. I'm going to try and beat it and make my way through Boss Cells 5. Very difficult challenge and just something that I would like to do. Um, and what I'm doing here is I'm being deliberate. I'm saying that I'm going to start this project and I'm going to finish. Um, and it's absolutely critical for me to change that mindset from simply having fun to not only having fun but accomplishing something and recognizing that I'm accomplishing it. And that's the whole point of the Steam Challenge. And you definitely said exactly that. And thank you for that. And just another heads up for everyone, for the incentive, if you do need to be a part of the Discord. So we have a Discord that you can join. Let me actually
Get the link for that as
get a
well.
link.
So many links.
Yeah.
Links to everything.
Well, I mean, people can just hang out and just check things out whenever
True.
they want. So I'm not sure what it is about links, but I set them to never expire, and they expire all the time. And I wonder if that is of when I change added a new channel because it happened. Someone knows, you just let me know. But anyway, all you need to do. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway,
I'm gonna turn mine off.
what you hear is just join this, and once you join the Discord channel called Steam Challenge, the rules for the giveaway are there. And again, if you have any friends that you'd like to refer, part of the incentive is that if you refer a friend or if you are selected, and there's not many people playing right now, so if you get in there now, pick a game that you're going to play, post your achievement, it's very likely that I'll be purchasing you a game. And if anybody refers you or you refer someone, I'll buy them a game as well. Full rules and details are available. Definitely let us know if you have concerns, and we'd be happy to have you as part of the community. And I think that's it for the Steam Challenge. Is there anything else that you'd like to say, or anything that you?
I think to just stress the point of active and deliberate. We're being active and deliberate and disciplining ourselves in finishing this instead of just doing it because, and understanding the reality and the goals behind it, I think is big. And also just to call out that this is just one challenge. There will be many in the future, and that the challenges and goals that we set are going to be the basis on which we can, work and try and master the goals that we want to and the skills that we want to. And it all ties back into the core message of choosing to be more than the sum of your parts. And so this is the way in which to actually kick it off through actions and not words.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of kicking it off with actions and not words, is there a game that you're planning to play for the Steam Challenge?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Funnily enough, when you said Dead Cells, that was exactly where my mind went to because I love that game. And I think I got close to the end. There was some boss. I can't remember what it was.
Timekeeper?
The Timekeeper. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure I got that far. I don't know if that's is that the last boss or?
Timekeeper is not the last boss,
Okay.
but he is absolutely very tough.
Is it pretty far in at least?
Yeah, so the game itself is pretty short.
Right.
So you will presumably be fighting the Timekeeper many times over the course of your career.
That's the furthest I've got was the Timekeeper. I think one time, and I played Dead Cells back when it was in early alpha, or I guess maybe early access. So I don't even know if they had all the bosses and stuff added in. The game is wildly different from where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to go back and teach myself. But man, what I would do is I would go into it, and the first couple runs I'd be real slow, real pace, get everything, clear all the maps, and I'd be super powerful, and then I would make some mistake and die. And then the subsequent next 20 runs would just be me trying to be as fast as possible, just like speed demon through the thing, and then I would never get that far. So I just get impatient, I think, and so I just gotta sit down and deliberately, continuously try, and then go through it all. But yeah, I think that's one that I would like to try as well. It's easy to get into. It's short, and it's one of those games that there's random elements, but at the end of the day, like what's changing and what's making you succeed is your own skill, not by leveling up, because it is like a roguelike, so you start back. So it's not like you can just grind it out and beat it. It's like you have to acquire the skills and the knowledge in order to do so, rather than just head against a wall. So I think that's why I like that as an idea.
Yeah, I think that's for the most part that's pretty true. You can I found out very recently that you can in fact grind out some level of becoming very strong.
Like,
Although that would take,
really?
yeah,
Like I know there's like health potions and stuff that you can level up, but in terms of like in other traditional RPGs where you can literally just like fight the same monster until you're like level 1,000 and then just one shot everything.
right. Yeah, so you can't do it in the same run, but over the course of like many runs, you can actually get to a point where you are significantly stronger so you can actually just start better. But ultimately, you will never win just by leveling up. You ultimately have to start to execute correctly and get
Right.
through. So just in I have a quick link there from last week, and I ran through. I was running in hard mode and fought Timekeeper for the first time. Actually, if you're interested, we can watch that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So let's see.
First timekeeper experience. Okay, I'm curious.
Let's see what happens here.
Can you pop the video up?
Yeah.
On the,
Yep. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch it over to the live scene here.
whoa, fancy.
Yeah.
Full screen it.
And we'll full screen and
Damn, look at that. Cover it perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, this was the guy.
Yep, and you can see I have my controller has some pretty bad snapback. So every once in a while I'll be shooting the wall, and that's 100% snapback.
Two bows. That's a. I think my problem was like I don't understand how to dodge all this stuff.
Yeah. So,
It gets wild later on too.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that hook is just so mean, and
It goes like wherever you are too. You see it coming in a dodge.
well, you just dodge in place. You can
Oh,
just
you can
dodge
dodge in
anywhere.
place?
Yeah. Oh,
You have way more health. How much health is that? That's 10,000? How the heck?
Yeah, so one thing that you'll notice is that if you take your time and you play, yeah, one second. If you play more and you are, I don't know if that's picking up, but if you, it's good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so if when you're playing each stage, if you take your time and you go through the entire stage, you'll get more power ups.
Right, yeah.
But anyway.
So I'm right back.
Yeah. Should have gone out in that one.
Whoa. No! Wow. You just press everything on the controller.
Oh my god, we did it.
Wow. First try too?
That was my first try on.
Wow.
It took me a very long time to get here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it took me a long time to get here too, but I've only been there once and I totally got wrecked. Like, just kept pulling me in. Oh, like 10,000 health is ridiculous. I don't think I ever had anything close to that. I didn't even get that much health.
Yeah. So what I was please push all the buttons. Yes, there it
Yeah.
is.
It worked.
Oh man.
The secret was to push all the buttons.
All right. Yeah. No, that was a ton of fun. Really a lot of fun. But yeah. So one thing you notice, 10,000 health. There's a like a, I don't know if it's an ability or like at some point you get this upgrade, but every
Okay.
time you pick up an item, it gives you a scroll of power for
Oh, wow.
whatever the item's primary stat is.
Right.
And so like I watched this streamer play, and he left like the first stage with like 5,000 health, where it took me like that's the end of the I'm at the end of the game.
Yeah.
It took me to the end of the game to get there, and he's already there like at the beginning. And so when he runs that same difficulty,
Yeah.
it's not even the same. He's doing like 20,000 more damage than me with every shot. Like he can three shot that guy, whereas I have to play this whole prolonged
Yeah.
battle.
Right.
So there is a capability for anyone to eventually get to a point where you can
Right.
just kind of breeze through the game, but for most people that or
Somehow your mic is working again.
I don't think it's working. I think we're just getting lucky here, but it's something that it's a difficult game, ton of fun. Hopefully, people will play that. Yeah, but at least we will.
Yeah, for sure.
Although I might play something else. It depends on how far I get in the next couple of weeks. I might try and like get through maybe Divinity: Original Sin.
Oh shit, that game was long. Is it the second one or the first one?
I'm probably gonna play the second one. I like the first one a lot. I didn't finish either of them. I get like maybe halfway through, and then one difficult fight, and I just
Oh
kinda
yeah.
get turned off
And
on
you
it.
spent 45 minutes on the fight, and then you die, and then you're like, all right,
Yeah,
don't
and
know what to do here.
I tend to play on harder difficulties too, and it's like I don't even know how skills work. But it's something that I'm going to that I like to write about as well. Just kind of learning. I'm going to call it learning to lose, and so maybe I'll keep that. Maybe I'll put that in for next week.
Ooh, learning to lose. I would have good insight on that specifically.
Oh yeah, I'm a loser. Let me tell you.
And win without losing.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So let's see. Current projects. So as far as what's going on in the world right now of the Crisis Loop, we are just starting our talk show here. We have the blog that we've linked into chat, crisisloop.com, and you can also find me streaming Monday and Tuesday. I do 8-hour streams of whatever game that I happen to be playing at the time. So right now it's Dead Cells, trying to get through the first hard mode difficulty, and then see if I can make it through to the hardest difficulty. But other than that, we also post the blog, write challenges here, and then at the end of every week, we try and give people kind of an update on where we are and what we're working on. One other project that I'd like everybody to be aware of is my brother's stream. My brother, and you can find him at twitch.tv twitch.tv/watcha_TV, and he is a very high level Counter-Strike player and on his way to being pro, and so I always want to promote him as a player. And if you enjoy watching Counter-Strike, or you'd like to learn anything, he is absolutely a fantastic resource. From the Crisis Loop perspective, or from my perspective, I'm using my brother as a way to practice coaching and teaching people how to build skills in not only in video games, but in this case on a professional video game level, using techniques from the corporate space. So that'll be things like measuring results and building habits around the skills that you want to learn. So if you have any interest in that, we'll actually be posting a little bit about him and his path and where he is right now. But if you want to just keep track of him or just see what he's up to, you can check him out on stream. Did you have anything else that you're working on, or anything else that you'd like to be working on? Any plans for things that you want to write or do?
Yeah, so there's a thing that I want to write. It reminded me when the learning to lose thing. I want to write an article that I think the working title is how Dark Souls started my career.
Not the Lord of Hell, but
the Lord of Hell.
the Lord of Terror. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
not the Lord of Terror, but Dark Souls, which is just as terrifying and dark and bleak, maybe even perhaps more bleak sometimes than the world of Diablo. So yeah, I think that'd be an interesting piece to write, because it definitely had an influence on. I mean, just Dark Souls alone, I could probably write so many pieces about, like how it helps with depression, which is like there's already so many articles written about it, how you create these like experiences with people that you will never know or see again, but you have like an emotional connection. It's very deep, and it's very like the game is meant to make you feel alone, but at the same time there's connection all around you. So I think that's another thing. So there's so many different topics we can dive into, like you're never really alone even when it feels like it, how it actually got my career started, and then there's a lot of things, depression, how it helps with that, perseverance. So that game in general, just I don't know, Dark Souls is so influential in my life that I think, but that I want to create a bunch of projects around that. Maybe even have the Steam challenge kind of be that, or another challenge in the future that I want to propose of like beating Dark Souls. I guess that would be the starting challenge. I was gonna make it more hard than that, and then one that I would do is I've done it before and want to do it again is beating Dark Souls at level 1. So
Okay.
not leveling up the character at all, and it's doable. I've done it before. It's a journey, but yeah, there's a lot to do around that game and that series that I think I want to sit down and
Yeah, no, that'd be fantastic. Definitely looking forward to seeing this kind of content. And I think that, if anybody out there, if that's interesting to you, and if you have anything to say, how has Dark Souls helped you, or what are the things that you're seeing? Definitely let us know. And in chat, I posted a video, my favorite video from Dark Souls which is it's titled "We Are the Souls" by The Prold. Have you seen
I
it?
have not seen it before.
Okay, well let's give it a quick watch. It's just an MV. It's really fantastic. I love this video. So let's just give it a quick watch.
Pop it up there or not?
Oh yeah, let's pop it up on the
With the
there we
VOD
go.
mic, it claimed. No, it shouldn't.